Yeah, no, you look pretty good. I'm glad you have your background back there. You have that because you have to do a lot of virtual shows, I take it, hey? That's kind of your business now, or
Yes, that's my full-time business.
full-time doing magic type stuff here. So for my guests who are popping in here, those of you, this is my friend Matt Gore. Matt Gore is a magician of all things, and I freaking love it. It's I love magic, I love magicians, and now I actually have a friend who's a magician I can actually talk to about magic. There he is. So
Thanks for having me on the show.
well,
Awesome, it's great to be here.
for sure. You're known as what Canadians call you is the ginger ninja, but you're not the ginger ninja. You're the ginger ninja.
Exactly, it's the accent, it's how you say it, eh? Ginger, 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 ginger ninja. Something catchy for folks to remember, yeah.
You're from South Africa, so it really works out well that way, right? The accent or the words actually have a meaning back then, actually catch on. So
that's true. I thought when I first got here, I was difficult to understand, but as I started sticking around a little longer and longer, it ended up being a good thing, you know? Someone once told me, you know, why fit in when you're born to stand out? So I've tried not to lose my accent and keep my foreign charm and try not to convert to a full Canadian just yet.
yeah, no, for sure. No, it keeps it. Yeah, it gives you a little bit of that cachet that you would have otherwise. Because you're a pretty good performer. I've seen you do some. Well, I've seen your shows, and then I've seen you in person a little bit, right? Not your full performance in live. It's one thing I missed because I wasn't at that one event that you did for our club that one time. But
yeah,
but I've seen you live, and I'm just there, and people love it, and the girls love it, which is pretty cool.
It's fun. My job, I honestly feel I think I'm very blessed. I feel I have the best job in the world. If I'm not going to a party, I'm performing at a party. I mean, my job is to make people laugh and to make people smile. So it's very rewarding in that sense. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. To be able to turn someone's frown upside down, you know, spread a bit of joy. I'm very privileged to be doing this as a career and to make a living from doing magic.
Okay, we're gonna what I do with most of my guests here. I like to know a little bit more about their lives, though, like in the past there too. So I do know that we talked the other day. Well, you and I, we should tell people we know each other from the Kinsman Club of Saskatoon.
Represent.
You joined you joined that a few years ago. I don't know, 3 years ago maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
And you you moved here because of a girl.
I did. Woman, yeah, it's always a lady, hey?
That's why yeah. I married a Saskatoon girl too, man. I know exactly.
No, there's something about them, hey?
But you're from originally from Cape Town. Is that where you're born and raised then too?
Yes, I was born in Cape Town. Do you want me to tell you how I met my wife and
Well, actually, I want to know a little bit about you as a kid. Like you grew up.
Well, that's perfect. Yeah, let's touch on that and just interrupt and feel free. So I was born in Cape Town, South Africa. It's the southernmost tip of Africa. And I was born there and I pretty much grew up my whole life. I was surrounded by beautiful beaches and weather. It doesn't snow in Cape Town, so I'm used to the heat and the warmth. And I attended school there. All my family and original friends, I have my new Canadian friends now, are from Cape Town. And then, you can touch more on, if you want, on my upbringing there. And I was raised into a ginger family. Both my parents had ginger hair and my sisters and the cat. So you could say all the redheads. I was born to be a ginger. And and then I decided after meeting my wife in Europe a couple of years ago to move to the other side of the world. So a big change for me growing up in Cape Town, South Africa and moving to Canada. But I have a very positive outlook. I love life. I love different places. I've had, let's say, 30 years of sun and beaches, and now I'm on a new adventure where I'm exploring something new and different. I've never seen snow before, so this is all new, and I kind of really enjoy the continuity between getting to explore everything that the world has to offer.
Yeah, I kind of get that. So my mom was a redhead. She actually kind of grew out of it as she got older. So, but as a fellow, really pasty, white-skinned, freckled person,
that's me.
I'll tell you, like living in the Northern Hemisphere is actually better for the complexion.
I feel like I've just come home. I think this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to live. I don't know how I survived in Africa for so long. When I go back now, it's too hot. Oh, it's difficult. Gingers are meant for the cold north.
No,
So
I'm right with you, man. I'm right with. I can't handle it at all. I like my little bit of sun, and then I need some that shade. I don't mind the warmth, but that sun, though, man, I'll get you every time. And you're closer to the sun there too, like the Cape Town. You're not just Southern Hemisphere, but you're a lot closer. Like I'm not sure what the equivalent would be in North America, like San Diego or someplace like that, in terms of relative distance to the equator. But it's similar to that. So you're getting the sun there.
It's warm. You can get summer is easily over plus 30, sometimes touching 42, 44, depending on which parts you're in. So anything that's uncomfortable for me, so you'll find me hiding inside or under umbrella. So I enjoy the beach, but sometimes from a distance, you know. It's a big change, and I love it.
What kind of sports did you do and activities did you do when you were growing up?
Right,
I know you're pretty athletic.
Well, thank you. No, not always. I love sports and keeping active and fit now and stuff. So growing up, I played cricket and rugby. Those were sports that I thoroughly enjoyed. South Africans used to call me Sean Pollock because of the ginger hair. He's a famous South African cricketer. I wish I was as good as him, but I wasn't. I enjoyed playing cricket. Rugby was good. I enjoyed basketball, a little bit of basketball. Yeah. And I'm the kind of person that likes to try everything. Like I said, I feel like, life is short. I've tried many a different sport, but rugby and cricket were probably the ones that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I probably missed the most. Watching that on the weekends where I'm in Canada now. It's all about hockey and football. Those are actual religions here. And as I slowly adapt and start learning my favorite hockey players, and it's a great sport. As long as you don't see me on the ice, I'm not the best ice skater, although I do try. And
Okay. Yeah, I don't doubt you try, because I was out there. Well, because I know you didn't play golf very much, but I was there your first round in Canada. I played with you. And I remember you were like, oh God, yeah, I'm just terrible. And yeah, you were like the first couple holes. And they were like, oh, just try. And, we're kind of be encouraging. And by the end of that round of 18, you're like hitting better than all of us.
Practice makes perfect. I never give up. It's like magic. I wasn't good at magic.
Oh, Christ. Finally, there's somebody that was better then. And then, no, it didn't last.
Rob. Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying the golf game. I'm slowly getting more and more into it. Just got my own set of clubs and just really enjoying, you got to make the most of the Canadian summers, yeah? And it's great to get out with the lads and play a couple of rounds. So, I'm looking forward to doing that next summer again.
Yeah. If COVID ever lets us go back to the golf course.
Exactly.
I was also there a couple of years ago on your very first northern Saskatchewan fishing trip, which was a blast too. And you caught a hell of I think it was a pike that you caught there.
Yeah,
big,
nice big jack. I love it. Fishing is one of my new favorite summer joy times. I absolutely love it. If I'm not performing at a show or performing at an awards gala or doing things virtually, you'll find me up at the lake. I love the cabin. I love the continuity between doing formal events and entertaining and then running away and being in the bush. It's really cool. Fishing, love fishing. It's so relaxing, just, being out on the boats and stuff. So really exploring more and more of Saskatchewan. This is such a beautiful province. We have so many amazing spots within an arm's reach. And the more I explore, the more I fall in love. So there's a lot more lakes that I need to visit, but I thoroughly am enjoying my fishing. So and it's great to go with the Kinsman guys always.
I just thought of this though too. Like there's that Saskatchewan tourism has that character called the Saskatchewan Wanderer. They hire a person for a year, and all they do is go check out all the cool spots all over the province.
I see that.
Ideal.
That's a great job. Hey, you just get paid to travel.
And you're from outside the province, so you can actually have that kind of outsider's view on things. You know what I mean? Like, and then
they'll be like, "Oh, watch this foreigner. Let's see if he knows how to ice fish. Oh, is he gonna freeze?" I think so. It could be fun. Hey,
you would be really good at that. Have you tried ice fishing yet?
I have. I mean, ice fishing. You mean playing cards and
drinking rum,
to stay warm in a hut for several hours to maybe catch a fish. Yeah, I've done ice fishing and I absolutely love it. I love card games. If anyone's willing to play with me, usually people don't. I've always got cards up my sleeve or in my mouth. You never know, Ace of Spades, that's a great one. You never know when you're going to need that one. That one just vanishes and comes back at a moment's notice, eh?
Oh, that's awesome. I'm not even paying this guy here for my guest here. Nothing. And we're getting a free magic show already. That's amazing. So, oh, I just love it.
You never know what's going to happen. Yeah, exactly. You got to keep it fun.
So, and your in-laws, they have a cabin then somewhere in town?
They do. We often frequent up at Turtle Lake. Turtle Lakes is about 2.5 hours north. Beautiful, big trees, very majestic. And I've got friends at different lakes, just like a lot of people visit Candle, White Swan, Iroquois.
Sure, yeah.
I spend a lot of time with some great friends I've made, and yeah, you just enjoy the great north. It really is a beautiful place. So like I said, I'm enjoying exploring all these new places. I mean, Cape Town, I'll be honest, where I grew up I think it's one of the most, if not the most beautiful place in the entire world that I've ever been to.
I believe you, yeah.
I've been to I've traveled more than 20 countries, and I love everywhere. It's got like a unique charm that makes it beautiful, and that's the thing, just like finding that. And but I really am enjoying Saskatchewan and all that it has to offer. You just got to go out there and explore and find all these little things, which is beautiful.
Yeah. So I think you studied at university, I believe it is.
Yes.
You did that? Yeah, you did that for a while. Was it a marketing degree or finance?
I did. I studied at Cape Peninsula University of Technology in Cape Town, CPUT, and that was the backup plan, make mom and dad happy. And then turns out I was happier doing entertainment, and magic paid for my university studies. So I didn't have any student loan debt, and then I've realized when I finished that I was happier doing entertainment full time, that I just never stopped. And I've been a professional magician for probably the last 15 years, or I've been doing magic for about 15 years, but full-time pro for around 12 years, and I absolutely love it. It's taken me around the world. And
So well, let's get into it. When did you start getting interested in magic?
So magic for me, my uncle was a magician. So I'll paint.
Holy Christ, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
So my uncle is, in my opinion, the best children's magician in the world. So when I say children's magic, being able to make a 5-year-old kid lose his mind by doing the most amazing magic for kids that just make them go crazy. So I was expert as a child watching one of my uncle's shows. He was performing for a group at a Christmas camp that we used to go to, and just absolutely hooked. He's doing something over here, and the rabbit pops up and then waves and then vanishes, and the kids are screaming, "It's over there!" and just going crazy. It's a very famous effect called Run, Rabbit, Run. And I just absolutely loved it. He also, there's a couple of effects that I still do today that my uncle first did when I was very young as a magician, and that was the whole reason I got into magic. So I replicate one or two of those things whenever I do family shows. So I saw this and I wanted to be a magician. I wanted to know how it was done. So I devoted my time and my energy, and my uncle actually runs a school. It's a world famous school called the College of Magic. It's in South Africa.
Holy cow.
So, collegeofmagic.com, and they teach children a combination, half of affluent and half from underprivileged communities. Is beautiful. You come together as one, and a very life-like Hogwarts, like its very own Hogwarts. And you come together and you learn magic, and it's a 6-year course you go through. And there's little students, classes of 30 of kids in little suits, bow ties, and you got your little magic briefcase, and keep all your props in there. And every week you come and learn a new effect. And you're not very good at first, but you practice and you get to learn little tricks that you go home and you show mom and dad. And so I went through all this, and my uncle taught me the magic, and
that's amazing.
I graduated, and that's when I've been hooked ever since. I've been doing shows, so I started learning as a kid. I saw my first magic show maybe around 4 or 5 that I can remember. And then around 9, 10, I learned magic. And then 16 years old or so, when I finished, I decided it was doing really well. I went to Las Vegas for a teen magic seminar, which was it was my first time on an airplane. So pretty seeing the big world. And that's when I learned more from traveling than I did even from like schooling and such. Just it opens your horizons, and travel was just been amazing in that sense. And then, I just entered the World Magic Championships, which is like FISM. It's the biggest magic competition in the world. At around 18 years old, it was like my first time qualifying for that.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Okay,
I did that twice. And you can touch on it. That's very stressful time, but very rewarding time too. I did a lot of competitions for 6 years as a youngster. I say a youngster, around 16 till around 23.
That's really cool that there's competitions out there that really foster the craft and do some encouragement for young people that are out there, that they're available. I take it that Vegas might be like the capital of magic in the world because there's so many entertainers, and magic just suits that city so well.
It is. You're right. It is the entertainment capital of the world. It works financially. It's perfect. They have over 1 million people through Vegas every day, outside of COVID, of course. So you can have the same show running for 25 years, such as David Copperfield, all these acts, and have a new audience every single night. 1 million people through a city is fantastic. Whereas a traveling show that comes to your city, after 2 or 3 days, everyone's seen them, and it's time for them to pack up and move on to the next city. So for an entertainment capital, Vegas is right up there. There's obviously a few others that have grown over the years around the world, but that's definitely one of my tops. I would say is Las Vegas.
Yeah, for sure. See, I'm gonna go back a little bit when you were a kid doing that kind of stuff, because I always liked magic too. But the thing is, I kind of realized right away I didn't want to know the trick, because it takes away, the magic of the trick.
Yes.
So I like, and I still to this day I keep telling myself, oh, I know there's a trick to it. I know there is, but I don't want to know what it is, because it just takes that away. Because it
ruins it. It ruins it. Yeah. You never, ever want to find out how the magic's done. See, magic, when you see magic and you're blown away by it, if it amazes you, like, how do you do it? The minute you find out how it's done, it almost like, it ruins it, because we want to believe in the impossible. Magic brings out that childlike sense of wonder in us, and makes you feel like a kid again. And those are generally our fondest memories, back in a time when anything was possible. And before, you become an adult and realize that the world is not all rainbow and sunshine, So it's a really great, it has a real great ability to make you feel like a kid again, which is another reason why I absolutely love it.
What kind of attributes makes a good magician? Like, I've noticed, like, your hands are amazing. Like, they're very, very deft and really, really cool.
What do you mean? These things?
Yeah, it blows my mind too. I know, like, it's ridiculous.
Check this on. Check my watch.
Yeah.
Pull my ring back through.
Yeah.
Put it on my finger like this. Watch, I can jump, jumps up just like that. Hands, no. Before this is the thing, I'll say.
Yeah.
I can teach anybody I can teach anyone to do a magic trick, but I can't teach anyone how to be a good magician.
Right.
That takes time. I would say in my career, I've met people that perform the most beautiful pieces of magic I've ever seen. So I would call them magically gifted. Yet they might lack the personality and the performance element. And then you get the opposite. You get the performers with the performing element and the stage personality, but they lack the magical ability and the dexterity. So it's a combination of both. I always say having that perfect balance. I would say good attributes to have, which I think everything can be taught. I reckon a lot of the most successful magicians that I know are people that I feel that are just incredibly disciplined and worked really hard at their craft every day. I believe in that for any sport, for any athlete, for anything. They just work constantly at it. So I would say other attributes that might help add to it is being confident. But once again, I feel like that can be taught. As you become better at something, you gain confidence in that too.
Or you can fake it for a while till you are confident.
True. And a lot of people have performance personalities that they put on when they perform. So might say, oh, you're very charismatic and confident and charming and comedic and funny. These are all great attributes which will add to the show, depending on your performance style. My performance style is a comedic magician. So I like to do comedy magic. What does it mean? It means I do amazing magic, and if it doesn't work, it's comedy. Isn't that cool? No, so I like to make my audience laugh and feel at ease, and more of a gentle, softer approach, which makes people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Some people enjoy freaking people out and eliciting a scary response. Now, I don't mind freaking people out if it's done in a fun, natural way. That suits my personality. But some people want to be like, and now for my next trick, I'm going to, and that suits their personality. So it's about, I did it all. I did that, and I tried all different kinds of magic. There's close-up magic, children's, mentalism, stage, illusions, the big box. I tried a combination of the performance styles until you really hone in on what comes naturally to you and what you really enjoy. And for me, it's always been comedy magic. I would say comedy stage magic and close-up magic, i.e. sleight of hand, which is stuff I can do in some living room if it's a private function, very casual, everyone's around, surrounded by people. I quite like, I like that. I've always enjoyed stand-up comedy too. I love going to watching stand-up comedy in like a bar environment. I've always enjoyed that party kind of scene. So I've enjoyed the combination of making my act stand-up comedy when I do perform. Now I'm having an interview, and stand-up comedy and trying to do world-class magic, combining those two so that people are like, whoa, we just did something amazing, and then it's back to the comedy. I kind of love that kind of thing. That kind of suits my performance style.
All right. So then what kind of magicians would you looked up to, like beyond your uncle? Obviously, he was a huge influence on you, but
yes,
those professional performers that are out there, what kind of ones did you kind of look up to? Maybe which ones do you try to emulate, or maybe it might be
so when you're young, I find you copy magicians. I love Lance Burton. Lance Burton is a Las Vegas headliner, famous for candle routine with making doves appear. So I did that. Right. I had a fire dove routine with the fire, and the dove appears, flies back to me, doves will vanish. I loved it because you emulate your role models. Yeah. You soon realize that if you emulate a role model, you'll only ever be a close second to them. So for me personally, my career really started to skyrocket when I embraced who I was as opposed to trying to copy someone else. Yeah. But for inspiration purposes, it would be the Lance Burtons. Obviously, he mentions my uncle. David Copperfield has always been the king of magic. He's more of an illusionist performing on stage, but the way he engages his audience and his ability to tell stories is gifted beyond means. That's the thought. Be able to take someone on a storytelling, just like you would reading a story for a child, you can do that for adults too. And your show has highs and lows, and there's so many fundamentals I've learned from different performers. One of my favorites would be David Williamson. He's a comedy magician, absolute brilliant. You guys can YouTube him, David Williamson. David Stone is another French magician, very funny, right up my kind of style that I like. I almost like the magic that goes completely wrong. The guys on stage everyone's laughing because they're just having so much fun, and it's a big mess, and it's all this, because it's funny. Human element, we enjoy that. We enjoy seeing, so the combination of the two, because I've always been torn between, do I do the funny approach or do I do the amazing approach? Do I want everyone to go like, wow, or do I want everyone to laugh and be amazed? So it's like kind of a tough, I've tried to always do both. I don't know, but those are a couple of names that come to mind. Otherwise, a lot of comedians. I love comedians. I've learned interactions per minute from comedians. Interactions per minute, how many times in a minute you can make someone laugh. So I try and do every 10 seconds to 20 seconds in my show. I try and have an interaction. That's how you keep attention, as opposed to having long-winded moments that someone's like, okay, get to the trick or get to the joke. It's all about, especially in this day and age of instant gratification, where people want something, they want it now. I don't think we can watch movies anymore without our cell phone in our hands. I don't know about you, but people watching the movie, they're like, okay, it's just check. We got to be doing more than we just very short attention span. So like, you got to be interactive, be quick, snappy, boom, boom, boom. Blow people away. And the moment,
you're really good at that.
Yeah. And as soon as you think they're sleeping, you wake them up. You're like, yo, we're here. We're doing it. Don't keep your eyes on the trick, You got to just keep that, So which is fun. You just got to have fun with it. It's about knowing your audience, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. I never heard of that phrase before. It really makes a lot of sense, though. Interactions per minute there, and you try to do like say 5 or 6 of them a minute. That you might be hitting your stride. Because again, I've seen
Yeah.
you. You're always on. Like you always have something.
Well, it's weird because some people say like, oh, the show is so good, or people don't realize like it's cool to talk like this because you actually get to realize just like any. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of work. Like it's a combination of psychology, misdirection, showmanship. My goal when I perform is to make the magic look easy and make the easy look effortless.
Right.
This is what gives people the perceptions that I have supernatural powers and abilities to make things fly and float through the sky, which it does. It does. When you see it perform, you feel like, but now we're just talking. So this is casual. You get to really see what goes on behind. Yeah. I just want to elicit a response in my audience, whether it's a amazement, if it's a smile, if it's a wonder. It's just you get to forget about the world and all the problems you might have for, let's say, 40 minutes and just sit back, relax, and get lost in a world where anything is possible, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, well, it's always that element of surprise, the unexpected. That's what gets everybody. That's what laughter is the unexpected surprise response to sort of surprise that's sort of pleasing you. That isn't like horrifying you, right? Or maybe it's horrifying you, and then there's a twist, there's a turn in there that kind of brings you up. The prestige, as they say in the movie Prestige. Do you use that?
I like that. It was great. It is. You've said it right. 100% agree with you. And we need that more than ever in this day and age. I feel like we've lost the ability to laugh at oneself, to humor, to not take offense. To be lighthearted, easygoing, and know that it's okay to be silly once in a while. A lot of the time, just because of the way we are going with I've learned to do a lot of self-deprecating humor in my show. That way, no one feels inferior or that I've picked on them, and they can, because there's a hell of a lot to joke about. I mean, I'm a ginger magician from South Africa that stutters occasionally. That I've got a very weird, like there's so much to, like you said, who's this pasty white guy? He's a magician. Okay, what instrument does he play? No, a magician, not musician. Gee, what do you do? What do you really do for a living? What do you do? You do this? People pay. You got to have fun with it. There's so much to laugh about. So I try to laugh a lot of myself, which makes people relaxed, and then, they can join in and it's all part of the game.
Yeah, you invite him into that sort of warm world of yours, or at least you're inviting them in here. Come and join me. I'm having a good time. Here I am. I'm being kind of silly, kind of stupid. And by the way, you probably feel kind of silly and stupid too. And let's feel silly and stupid together. Have a bit of fun. Enjoy.
I love that. And I love that. And it shows. I feel like you can always tell if someone's very tense and formal and makes you feel tense and formal. Like, have you ever gone to, let's say, a super formal event where perhaps you don't really enjoy that? Now you're a little bit on edge because everything's a little bit more, you know what I mean? So in my show, even when I perform at formal events, there's a part in my show where I'll make my bow tie vanish. Why? Because it gives people that, where did it go? I'll make it appear later on again, maybe. But it gives, he's relaxed. It's the bit, he's relaxed. He's not, my goal is to make everyone feel relaxed. So when people are laughing and having a good time, people are generally, you're like, hey, what's going on over there? Why is someone else having more fun than I'm having? You want to see what's going on. So I don't know. This is just, and some things you don't even realize that you do. You do it subconsciously now. I think it's because I've been doing it since I've been a child. And, I think I've honestly done, Rob, I've done more than 3,000 shows in my life. I think I calculated that. I review everything. I critique every show at the end of it. I calculate how many I do every year. The most I did was 300. I think I did that in 2010, 300 shows in 1 year. So, practice makes perfect. Just like you watch these hockey players, incredible. I don't even know how they change direction and do unbelievable. But it's hours and hours and hours. And with my profession, it's you gotta get that stage time.
Yeah, that's what I tell me. Yeah, for sure. No, I was gonna say it for my kids when I coach them too. I tell them that all the time. This is a drill that Patrick Kane or Johnny Gaudreau, the best stick handlers in the world. I said, they do this at every practice, and it's a stick handling drill. That's all they're doing. They're doing this drill. They're stick handling around pucks. And it's like, and they're still doing it. So why do you think they're in the NHL? Or why is Sidney Crosby so good? Because he does this all the time. Or Connor McDavid does crossovers all the time. It's boring
all the time. I watched that Michael Jordan series on Netflix. Mind blowing. Just the number of shots that he takes every single day. It was like, but you know what I mean? It's that consistent daily work in and out. And I have that same routine. I've got to play with the props, make sure the hands are moving, got to make sure that things are good. So, you know, make sure I'm warmed up. I have routines, checklists.
Do you have your routines ahead of time? You guys say you have checklists for your shows?
I do. I have, there's a few rituals I do. So today I just had a meeting earlier. That's why we're here. That's why we have this virtual background. Sorry, guys. Just to showcase to a client what the potential show can look like when you perform. But my routines for a show, if I was actually doing a show, I always work out before the show. Get the blood pumping. You got to get it good. It helps. If you can't go to the gym, I do 20 push-ups. Just get out. You got to get pumped. Got to get hyped. The energy that you put in is the energy you get out. So if you walk on stage, good evening, everybody. My name is Matt. We're going to have fun. It doesn't sound like you're going to have fun.
But if you notice that right away from the fucking
instantly. Yeah. Your audience is very smart. They're very educated. I never understood how some people are like condescending to. I love my audience. First of all, thank you for being here tonight and for actually watching my show and not, you know, I appreciate this is, you just got to have fun. So I walk in with a step in my foot now. Yeah, you little bit, the blood's pumping. I have a routine. I have a checklist.
Okay.
I've always been jealous of comedians because all they need is a microphone. I have so much that has to go on. I've got to have something here. I've got my secret apartment here. I've got my case of tricks. Everything has to be in a pristine spot. And when I go to get it in 20 minutes, it needs to, so I need a backup plan. For instance, if I use a lighter in the show, there's a backup one here, another one here, and one Velcro to the back of my case so that at any moment I know there's backup for sounds. I have a backup mic that I use. I've come through it's a checklist I go through. There's one inside my case because I want professionalism. I've always advertised myself as 100% satisfaction or your money back. Like you don't have to pay me if you don't feel like I've done a good enough job. And I stand by that. I love what I do and I put a lot of effort into it. But I've never had anybody not pay. Maybe someone will try one day, but you can't when everyone's standing and clapping and going. So you got to just for peace of mind. But yes, I have checklists. I have procedures. I never allow anything for. I'm not nervous because I've thought of everything. I try and get to a show earlier. I don't leave. There's a sound check. I'm there at 2:00 in the afternoon. I set up at TCU Place. I make sure everything's working. I come back an hour before my dress rehearsal. I'm prepared. Why? Because it makes me relaxed. I have a green room. I'm relaxed. I go through my checklist. I listen to my music, put my Bose headphones on, get in the zone, get ready for the show, doing the push-ups, get all pumped up and go chat to the guests, get to know them. I love making friends, walk around, chat to all the people from 4 years old up to 94 years old. I make time for everyone. If I see someone's just be just be a nice guy, just be likable. It's not that, it's weird, it's crazy. Just do things for other people. Don't know, you know what I mean? And and then they realize, oh, you were the entertainment. I thought you were the part of the venue. I'm there and ready. That gives me time to read the crowd and allow for extra gags and bits to go into my show. So if anything funny happens throughout the night, I get to touch on it in my show. So I try and do things like that. I don't know if that answers the question, but I do try and be as prepared as I can.
And it gets them used to you a little bit as well, too. And again, that's maybe the introduction to, invite them into your little world there to,
True.
We're going to have some fun tonight. And this is me, by the way, and I'm going to be up there and hope you support it.
I do. I walk around and I steal people's watches and wallets, and then they're like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Hey, is there? And I say, it's not because I'm a magician, it's because I'm from Africa. But I'm joking. It's because, and then you give it back, you're having fun. It gives people a teaser, and then people are excited because then they say, that guy's then going on stage now. And then I like to just be I come out and visit after the show. Go to the tables, do some more bits and pieces, bend in some forks, just having fun. It's really cool when you get to see magic live. I think we live in a day and age where everyone watches things on YouTube and Instagram, and
there's no wonder anymore because it's you can find an answer to anything now. Just go on to YouTube or Google it. You can find, for every one of your tricks, you can probably find somebody talking about it. And that's a bloody shame, because if there's no wonder left in the world, then what's the point of living in this damn world?
Exactly. It's a very difficult end because we just, so it's a problem that we always have as magicians. That's why I've tried to not use too much commercial material, and I've tried to design a lot of my own effects and make things unique to me and my personality, so that you might not see, let's say, possibly most magicians try and do it. Like if a thing becomes quite commercial or common, then I'll time to change. So I'm always trying to be on the forefront of inventing something that's, say, new and different. I'm always working on something.
All right, I'm going to back it up just a little bit more here too, because when you were, I think you were done university or you were doing your traveling with the magic, that sort of thing. You went to Europe, or you're traveling the world, I guess, and that's where you met your wife when you're.
Yes.
I guess you're just vacationing or maybe working through Europe. I don't even know what the hell you were doing there.
It's always a combination of the two. I've always tried to combine relaxation and holiday with work. Generally after the work as the reward. I was in Las Vegas for a magic convention, and then I went to Hollywood to do some touring there and just to network a bit and see. And then I was coming back through Europe for a bit more of a holiday. And that's where I met this wonderful lady that I now call my wife and the mother of my 2 young kids. And I'm very, proud and privileged to have met her in Europe. We met in France. We were on a Tiki tour, and we toured through Europe together. It was holiday romance. We went back our separate ways, and we kept in touch. The old school way. Skype was cool. Skype was, sending messages and stuff. A little easier than the old days. You used to have to write letters and wait months and end. And after 6 years of long distance relationship, so I decided
6 years,
a couple of months later, to fly to Canada. And then we continued this back and forth, living in both countries for 6 years. I didn't see a single winter for 6 years. That's how she. I never saw snow. I was always here for the summer. The minute it started to get cool, we were on a plane back to South Africa.
She's a smart girl.
And then we got married. In South Africa.
Girl. Yeah.
And then I got to see my first winter. Hey. and then we decided, to be honest, I was loving it. I still do to this day. I love South Africa and Canada. I love the two, but she was pregnant with our first child, my daughter, and we decided that we wanted to settle down a bit more as opposed to our traveling lifestyle, because we went on lots of places then. I did shows in Bahrain, in UK. I did a comedy club circuit in Amsterdam for a bit too. There was lots on the go, and we decided to settle down. And what a beautiful country. We chose Canada. It's just a safe. It was just a beautiful spot to be. And now I still visit South Africa. I go back if I can once a year to visit family and friends and get to catch up and maybe do a couple of shows with old clients and loved ones, and then I hop on a plane back to my new home, which is Saskatchewan, Canada.
Yeah, that's a good way to go do your visits if you get some work out of the deal as well, too, right? It pays for your vacation, and you get to enjoy yourself. And again, it's not just work; you enjoy doing it, but it's work.
True, exactly. And I miss my South African audiences. There's many different cultures around the world. I adapted my show for Canadian audiences. In South Africa, we have 11 official languages. So Afrikaans, ek is 'n kulkunsena, hoe gaan dit met jou? My name is Matthys, or isiXhosa, which is like ikhanda umqhubuti, igawulungu Matthew, difuna umlingu. So I learned to talk these different languages to make my show comedic to different cultures. And then I moved to Canada. So, but now I'm gonna have to learn a few more languages. I love going over and above what's expected.
You got to go up north there. You have some Korean, Dene.
Exactly.
There's some French too.
I'm actually doing my indigenous studies. I'm 8 weeks in. I'm doing a 12-week course through the University of Alberta, and then I might be doing some languages too. You got to throw. I'm gonna throw myself into the culture and really.
Oh yeah, go to or even PA, a place like that. I start speaking Cree. Those audiences are gonna love you, man.
Yes, exactly. It's about making that effort. It's about making that effort and treating your audience as they are, which they are. They are special. They are there, and you should treat. And that's everything. Even if you try a little bit, just try a little couple of words. It shows that you made an effort. And there's so many performers that don't try. They'll come off the stage and say, "Oh, the audience was dead." They didn't like me. And however, it's up to you as the performer.
You weren't good enough. You weren't
as the professional, you should know the audience. And you have to, and I've had to adapt. My show is not the same when I perform for an American audience or European audience. I adjust my show. I think it's up to you as the professional to do your due diligence and know who you're performing for, as opposed to, it's easy to blame the crowd.
Yeah.
Because that means you're not accepting any blame yourself. And we can't accept any blame in this day and age. No, I love it. Yeah. If there wasn't bad shows, I wouldn't have good shows. So, you know, you've got to learn from these things, and I've learned from mistakes in the past. And it makes you confident going out that you can entertain any culture at any age.
There's a really great documentary called Comedian. It came out about 12 or 14 years ago with Jerry Seinfeld.
I love it.
Did you see that? Did you see that documentary? It was amazing. So it's him. The idea was him. He was actually getting rid of his act and starting brand new. Because the guy had been everywhere, right? He was the biggest comedian in the world.
He is.
There was nobody better than him. No. So where's the challenge in that, right? So his idea was get rid of this entire set, start brand new. So he's hitting up comedy clubs, working on a set over a year. And it contrasted him with this Oren somebody or other comedian that was kind of up and coming. And it was kind of cool of a contrast between the two guys. But there's one act or one show that he did in New Jersey. In New Jersey, they don't give a shit who you are. If you suck, they'll tell you. Yeah. And Jerry Seinfeld came in afterwards in front of the camera crews, and he's like, boy, that was a tough audience. Holy cow, they weren't giving me nothing. And then he's like this, and then he did that, and then he's like, I just wasn't funny enough. That was it. And that's the attitude to have. And that's why he's the best. Because he's like, he gives shit on these.
Wasn't giving them enough. I like that.
Maybe it was a shitty audience, but he's like, it wasn't good enough.
Listen, I agree. You do get audiences that just don't. Yeah. They don't give you anything. They don't give you, let's say, the extra clapping or the encouragement. So I definitely do feel that. But then you can
generally... It doesn't matter, though, right? Like,
yes, it's kind of a sign kind of a thing. Yeah. Yeah. And, you can adapt to sing. But, he's definitely, he's the king. He's the king. So, you know, he's been there and done that. Kudos to that guy. Had quite the career.
And another part about that documentary, and again, you touched on this sort of thing as well already, too, but he talked about how he was writing jokes, and then he was kind of up and coming, and then he's seen these guys on the street, and they were working on the road or wherever they're doing. And he's like, that guy doesn't have a choice. That guy's got to get up and work every day. It doesn't matter if he's not feeling bad or feeling well. He might have an argument with his wife, whatever it was. He's still working. It's like, well, if that's the case, then I could be doing that too. So what kind of effort am I putting in? So he keeps all his jokes together, and
exactly.
You know, he probably he has his own system about how he's going to work through a set, and you know,
and it's difficult. It's difficult to come up with new, come up with a new act, write new jokes, write new material.
Could you imagine throwing everything out that you've learned and then starting with new bits?
Well, I try to do it. Like comedians do it too. If you have a Netflix special, some say it takes around 2 years to come up with a new
that's what they say,
special. The problem is that you might have heard from a lot of those top line guys. It has to go through a vetting in order. This Jerry Seinfeld, he's the top level comedians. These are the best in the world. So in order for them, their sets that you see that are the best, the ones that make Netflix, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
It didn't just start there. Those jokes were written, and then they go and try it out in a comedy club. Yeah. Like a small venue. And then it works its way through comedy clubs. And when it's good, then they'll try it at an arena. And then after an arena, they'll go on tour. And then they'll do like a 27 city tour or even more. And then they film the second last set or the third last set. And that's what you see on Netflix because it's so polished and so perfect. And then it takes time to come up with new material. I try and do the same with my clients. If people like my performance style, they just maybe want new material. So I try to also on a year or 2 yearly basis, recycle my material and come up with new stuff so that if clients have seen me, they're like, yo, you know what? I love Matt. That was great. But we just saw you a year ago. Do you have a slightly different act? And I'll be like, yes, I do. And then in a 2 years time, you can actually bring back some of that previous material because it's fresh and new again. So it's kind of cool in that sense so that if people do, perform, but I have so much material now that I just adjust it. So if someone says, hey, Matt, we saw you at this event, I go back to my calendar. I know exactly what I performed, the style of show. I can adjust it and make it seem as if it's a whole new show without you having to take a chance and, maybe meet someone that you don't know who they are. maybe you like someone and you want to just, see what else they can do. So that's pretty cool.
Do you have a bunch of bits, or do you have like sequences of bits? That's that's in terms of comedy guys use. And then you kind of have those kind of. You have them written down somewhere. So
I had to before it was all up here. It was getting too much for me to remember all. So I have like multiple screens here in my office here, and I got like external hard drive backups. So my bits, I have like opener bits that can only be done in the beginning, and I can't say why because I'm a magician.
Yeah.
And there's only so much the dove can take. No, I'm joking. So there's open bits, there's closing bits, and then there's a whole lot of my favorite bits. And then I get to pick. I like the show to have continuity though, and it's got to flow. So I design a show. I don't want to just be doing trick after trick after trick. There must be a reason for doing what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah,
and I like to
or something like that.
Entertain the audience along the way.
Well, it tells a story.
Telling a bit of a story.
Yeah.
Why? Because then they invested in your show. So, which is cool until you're at celebrity status. Then you can do whatever you want. People they'll laugh at everything you say. They'll just eat up whatever you do. So, which is nice.
Oh, we laugh at everything you say, though.
So, which is fun. But yeah, no, it's nice that I don't often get to touch on the design phase and how you come up with these new bits and bringing them all together and the writing. People just say, "Oh, this guy's funny." Or they'll write a joke and say, "Matt, can you say this joke because you're funny?" And if you say it, everyone's going to laugh. And then I'll be like, "Listen, I need to write it. So let me know what you, a comedian can't just read your joke. You know what I mean? There's got to have their own flair to it. So
it's got to come from you. So even if the joke itself is funny, and maybe it is, if you saw in the writing here, you still have to incorporate it into your act so that it tells a story, or at least it follows a pattern that is comprehensible to the audience. Doesn't mean it has to be predictable, but it has to be comprehensible. And that's two different
100%.
Yeah.
And that's also when you first start as a comedian, everyone knows a joke or two. Everyone knows a few cheesy jokes. I know a few cheesy jokes. They've either got to be so cheesy that they're so cheesy that people laugh, or you know what I mean? Like there's so many, but you just find what, and then you start finding, well, I find this funny, and you start writing your own material and start saying things that you think people are going to laugh at, and that's what I try and use. My whole show is me talking about arriving in Saskatchewan and settling in here because I'm the man with the accent, I say tomato and banana, not banana and tomato. So, I make fun of the, and then I compliment the city and the country because it's amazing. And it's nice. There's a story to it. I talk about how I ended up here, and the whole story is woven in with effects throughout.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice way, just a nice finale. Bring everyone together, then I have a nice big finale that I do. Yeah. And then we're just back to having a good time.
Most comedians kind of follow the successful ones. They follow that pattern too. And the only exceptions I can maybe think of are maybe Stephen Wright and Mitch Hedberg, who did the one-off. They just did the punchline jokes. Set up the punchline.
No, but some of them are so brilliant. You can.
Oh, I couldn't.
But that's the thing. There's no one shoe fits all. So I feel like just because like a comedian says something, or even you heard me say something, it doesn't mean it's the only way. I think there's lots of ways. It's just up for you to find what works for you and to roll with it. There's no book that I've read or something as I've followed. My whole career has been trial and error. Yeah. That's why I embrace failure and mistakes, because if you didn't make them, you wouldn't learn from them and you wouldn't move forward. Yeah. So like some of my best ideas and the biggest things in my life have come from making mistakes because I was brave enough to try them. So I actually embrace move, and there's no formula that I'm following. I just started to be like, I started seeing success when I followed a few of the things that I've been talking about. And also when I've been treating my business like a business and making sure that everything is on point and that you've got branding, and that I'm not just going on stage doing whatever, that I'm actually being like a comedian who you think is unscripted. He's incredibly scripted. He's written joke for joke. He has 4 finales. If you don't laugh at his final joke, he has another 3 still, so he keeps going. He wants a big laugh at the end. So if he doesn't get it, he keeps going, and then he's like, okay, I got it. I'm stopping. He still had 2 more in the backup, but he needs a big laugh. Thank you very much. You guys have been great. My name's Jimmy Carr. Good night. You know what I mean? Like, they don't realize how much work these guys put into the act. So then I thought, no, I've got to put in the same amount of work and leave nothing to chance.
Well, it is a formula, though. The formula is hard work, listening to what hell works, getting rid of stuff or changing stuff that doesn't work, and just being diligent about it. It's not like an easy formula, but it's a formula that it's about success. It's not a trick. It's like,
no. And also, don't play it safe. Don't
better,
like.
You know?
Sometimes I used to play it safe, like being too formula. Lately, I try to push the boundary a bit, which is you either get the most amazing show, you get the most amazing result, like out of this world, which is this amazing feeling ever. Or every now and again, if you've presented your show in such a way and they loved 80% of it, if one thing doesn't go down as great, the audience will forgive you for it. It's like a comedian. You know, you're talking about Jerry Seinfeld. If you love Jerry Seinfeld and he tells one bad joke that you don't really care. You're like, okay, he goes on to the next bit. And you're like, you love him because he's Jerry Seinfeld. So it's about, I honestly feel just be likable. Just be a nice guy. Be relatable. Do your bits. Be funny. And if you want to push the boundaries, I will never try too much in a show. I'll try one new thing. And then if it's good, then it's in every show, then moving forward. Or sometimes a lot of my stuff is also when it comes to material. I'll just touch on that because we're talking about that. It's not all scripted. I have a lot of, let's say if I ask a question, I would then see there's about 15 different responses that I mostly get. I can then memorize a comeback for every single one. I know.
Right, yeah.
And then there's a lot of things that just come off the spur of the cuff, which I've been enjoying, which is a lot more improv. And I've really been enjoying that lately, which is like just going with the flow and being more confident to say more off-script things on stage, which is fun. It's really, really cool. And then after the show, I'll write that in my little book if it's really good so that I remember that. Because it only comes to you when you're there. You're just in the show moment, I don't know. It's always whenever I'm standing, I'm laughing, and you get someone in the audience that's doing something, and you like, check at this. Okay, look at this guy. Now I gotta say something. I can't keep quiet. And you just say it. And if it's good, it's like, wow, I should actually do that in every show. So every
it's
show.
not a mental note too. You have to write it down, or else it didn't happen.
So I know it might seem like I've said, I've planned everything so that there's hardly any mistakes, if any, like none. But at the same sense, each show will feel unique. So people that say, Matt, but your show's not this. I know, but I've rehearsed and planned, but there's different outcomes and I've planned different, like it's weird to explain. It's still under full control, but each show is unique in that sense. Yeah.
Okay, Matt, I know we're limited time here too. Do you have time for one more question?
Yeah.
And get the audience to call it. No, they're joking. But the other question is you're doing all these great live shows and you do work in corporate gigs and those kind of things too. COVID happened. How has it been? How did you transform your act into the time of COVID?
Yeah. So obviously with live events currently on hold, I was hit with an obstacle in my career. So I decided to adapt and bring my show virtually to audiences across the world. I say we could all use a bit of magic in our lives right now. And this was a great platform for me to connect with anyone from any country. So yeah, it was, I think my last live show was around March 9th. And I had an amazing year booked. I was booked up for Christmas, like November, December bookings. I think I had more than 45 cancellations, obviously, due to COVID, which is fine. Everybody needs to do their bit. Those are postponed. We'll pick them up next year. Everyone's health and safety is of the utmost priority right now. So I don't like sitting well. I don't like just accepting Bennett. I need to do something. And my mom always said, if you have a gift, you should share it with the world. And I thought, well, what? I can't do live shows. People know you can't have big crowds. Nobody wants to see. And I said, how do you do magic for a camera? Nah, people are going to think it's camera tricks. This is all one continuous shot. And then I was like, no, let's try it. So then I moved my office around. I was like, well, what? I forgot. There's a cupboard back there. I don't want anybody to see it. Oh, put this banner there. Well, let's put up the other one. Then I was like, oh, I got some lights behind me. Who am I performing for? Set it to the brand colors. Let's go. who are we doing shows
okay.
for? I can change the colors to anything I want. So
Yeah.
depending on the company's branding, I make sure my whole show is in tune.
Okay.
Then I set up spotlights here so that I was a bit more well lit. They're not on now. I can put some more on. I have access. Everything's remote operated so people can see.
Okay.
I upgraded the 4K camera. I have a DSLR camera.
Yeah.
I wanted to be audible wherever I walked around the room. And then I designed my show so that it was visual. I needed to do visual magic, stuff that was appealing to, appealing to people. Like you could do things for the camera.
Yeah.
People gonna believe.
Yeah.
So I've got South African money over here. It's got Nelson Mandela on it.
That's fake money.
Fake money, exactly. Only because it's South African money. Hey, you think
It's not real.
you think it's fake? So there we go. Actually, wait. We've got $100 note, or we've got a 20 Canadian. Which one do you want to? Must I do it with the South African money or the Canadian money?
I want to see the South Africa. I want to see Nelson Mandela do something.
You want to see Nelson Mandela? Okay.
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela. Now this is a cool thing. This is worth only $9 Canadian.
Okay.
But wait, I can do a better exchange rate than that. Don't know if you can see this. I usually do this. We have a different camera angle, but watch this.
Okay.
Watch. I don't know if you can see it just for a second here. Maybe, just maybe, it'll change to something more worthwhile, like 100 Canadian dollars. See, that's a better exchange rate right there.
That's insane.
And there we go, sleeves rolled up, nothing there. This I'm actually going to keep because I'm going to go out a little later. That'll buy me some lunch. So thank you very much. Here you go.
And you know it's not a camera trick because I'm the one recording this. And I'm not doing a damn thing. I'm so incompetent I can't do that. So you know that's a real thing.
And this is it allowed me to design the whole show to be virtual. So it's very interactive.
Right.
I have 2 cameras, so I can do close-up magic, which would be stuff with, which would be stuff with cards. Yeah. Which will allow you to do all the slide stuff. I get people to pick cards, tell them what they're thinking, what's on their mind. Right. It's really, really cool. So, and it's been great. So I've been doing a lot of awards galas, virtual meetings, for icebreakers. And also I feel people have been getting a bit of Zoom fatigue. And also people, we are humans. We need that human interaction. We need connection. So if we're stuck at home, this was a great way to bring people together to have a bit of a laugh and to enjoy themselves. I make bottles of Corona appear. The whole show is very engaging. I call people out. As I said, I tell you what you're thinking, what's on your mind. You get to see all the video, everyone's Zoom called in. So it's very interactive, very engaging, and it's not just another laptop performance. I've tried to give it that bigger production feel, which is cool, and it's allowed me to keep busy in this day and age and still connect with my audiences. So
Grace, I've enjoyed this interview with you, and it wasn't even a scripted performance.
No, we just went on everything. So I hope everybody enjoyed it and found some value.
Well, I know I did too. So I think we'll let you go here because I know time's tight here, right? Just for today, but and I know I'll see you again here soon. But
appreciate that.
Thanks a lot. People go visit your website or your Facebook page to take it. And
if it's there, I'm going to be posting a lot more content. I'm actually going to be shooting a lot more in the coming weeks. So if you
great idea,
the first to see that stuff, the virtual shows have been keeping me very busy, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more stuff. So if you want to, Matt Gore Magic is my social media handle. You can Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I'd love to have you all following. You can even request stuff. Tell me what you want to see more of. Ask me questions. I'm trying to add as much value to everyone as I can. So I hopefully look forward to having some of you connect with me on there. And thanks for having me on the show, Rob. It was always a pleasure chatting. And I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much.